to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. Today we are going to go ahead with being productive the Agile way, as we've done it yesterday, or as we've gone through it yesterday and the day before and whatnot. But today we're probably going to finish up with it. There is not much left of the book, but it is a really good book, a really cool book. I've enjoyed it. Some good insights, some good thoughts, some paragraphs or sentences that made me think about certain things. And, this is already a good sign. This is already a good thing. But yeah, of course, it's definitely something else going through being productive. Well, we've been on the netliaison.org, I guess it is. Oh no, it's actually .com. I think it was .org at some point, but anyway. But yes, I do hope that you can see anything. No, you can't see anything. Is there a difference? No, there isn't. So let me have a look. Then we go to the productivity section. There it is, and there should be work clean, the motivation, the power, atomic habits, simple effect, design your work, getting results. It is actually getting results the Agile way and not being productive the Agile way. Might actually be the case that I've that I've named a few episodes the wrong way, but anyway. Anyway. The less task switching you do, the more good Agile work you'll get done. Which is indeed something that quite a lot of, I know it from Tim Ferriss, and I think that I've heard it somewhere else as well, that some people really do try to make sure that they're batching things, that certain days are consisting of similar works. And I think it makes sense. I think it is a good idea. But I also tend to really enjoy switching up tasks, When I'm doing something for 3 hours straight, I can't do it anymore. And sometimes when I'm taking a break and I'm just willing to do the exact same thing afterwards as well, especially when it is work. I'm not necessarily talking about learning, but then I tend to just be like, I just really do not want to do this anymore. And then it is nice to do something else and maybe get back to the original thing again, so that I'm at least getting something done and not kind of lacking in several departments, so to speak. Experiment with your schedule to find what fits you best. Yeah, really makes sense. Top 5 productivity pitfalls. Analysis paralysis. Analyzing everything, trying to understand everything. Which is good. Understanding things is good, but when you're lacking in doing something, when you're lacking in creating something, when it is about doing something and when it is about creating something, you should also do so. And it might definitely be hindering you if you do not do so, just because you're always analyzing. Do it when you feel like it. Well, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably never going to feel like doing so. Don't know the work to be done. Yes. Definitely the case. If you do not really know where you're heading towards, it is very difficult to do the things you should be doing. Do not do that. Lack of boundaries, yeah. And perfectionism, yes. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, especially when it is about client work. What is perfectionism? I want to have it in this way, you want to have it in that way, and that's quite it. It's it's never going to be perfect. And it also is unnecessary, quote unquote, to get yourself in the mindset of perfection, which indeed and for sure is going to inhibit you from being as productive as you could be, because you're always trying to do your best and do their best. Is this going to happen? Sometimes it will, by being persistent and by actually trying to focus on it, but most often it's not going to be that. Unless you really are good at making a concept of what is perfect for you. If you have motivation without technique, you're just a motivated idiot. If you have great technique but no motivation, you won't accomplish anything. But if you have motivation and technique, you can produce great results. When you fix your time, you'll have more energy and sprint better. With an end in sight, we can push ourselves. When work is endless, it becomes much harder to put it out our best effort. Yes, therefore it makes sense, and it is something else that he was talking about in the book. Having small increments of tasks, and or just when you're having a big task, when you're having a big thing to do, just having tiny chunk and or making tiny chunks out of it, so that you can really work out those chunks, going from X to C and so on and so forth every single day, and eventually you're going to be you have completed the whole thing and you're done with whatever it is all about. And I guess that it is actually applicable to everything that you're doing. And I would argue, though, that it is very important to make sure that you clearly have in your mind what's the goal for the day is and or for the week. If the goal for the week is getting done with this certain project, then of course you have to chunk it down for the day so that you can get things done in the day. And period. One of the best ways to learn is to teach. Yes. Self-discipline is a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. See willpower instinct. Have I gone through this already? No, I don't think so. Focus on effort, not outcomes. You can control your inputs, but you can't completely control the results. Score will take care of itself. I mean, this is a very difficult thing, because if you're really putting in a lot of effort into something that you may not necessarily be good at, well, of course, the results are not going to be as good as somebody that is doing the same, putting in the same effort, but is having a ton of talent in a certain task or in a certain field. So in the end, it's, when you're really working hard on something and the result is something fucked up, you really do not like it, you maybe even hate it, then being like, okay, I don't know, being dismotivated, is this even a word? I don't know. But, stopping to be motivated because of that, because you realize, I maybe could have done better, and whatnot. Like, if you're putting in everything you can, there is not going to be what if I put in more effort, because you've already put in all the effort, which in and of itself is a very difficult thing, because what is everything that you can give? What is that? Who knows? I don't know what my 100% is. My 100% would probably be just near death. Should this be the case? I don't really think so. On the other hand, of course you're going to be discouraged if you see a bad result after a lot of effort. But as this says, you should be focusing on the effort. And you've done that, so you've accomplished it. But the question is, if you fail a test, even though you've given it everything, or your everything, well, what does that say? Are you just dumb? Should you be doing something different? I don't know. 3 mindsets to make your life better. The first one is the abundance mindset. The second is positive mindset. Well, no shit. And the third one is the growth mindset. Always seeking growth, always seeing growth. Because there is growth when we decide there is, period. Which is indeed making your life better. I'm just thinking about very difficult situations or very difficult things one might encounter, or some things that I have encountered. And by thinking like, I at least can get this and that and these and those out of it. Of course it's going to feel better. Of course you're going to feel better about yourself. If you have just done what you wanted to do, or if you haven't what you wanted to do, doesn't really matter then. But I'm very interested in the abundance mindset. Abundance mindset. An abundance mindset is the idea or worldview that there are enough resources and successes for all to share. This worldview is contrasted with a scarcity mindset, or the idea that there isn't enough to go around and that each person must guard their accomplishments or resources from others. The Forbes.com site, 5 ways to go from a scarcity to abundance mindset. You can actually listen to it as well. I disable my ad blocker. Can you actually see everything you should be seeing? Yes. So we are gonna quickly refresh the page here. And you should be, that's amazing. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, which is the author of The Growth Mindset as far as I remember. Focus on what you have. If you've been thinking about a career change but haven't taken the leap, you're probably having thoughts like, there aren't enough good jobs out there. I don't have enough transferable skills, or who am I kidding? There is too much competition. These are all ideas based on scarcity, what you don't have. Scarcity mentality sees limitations instead of opportunities. Instead, turn those around to thoughts like, wow, I have 25 years of marketing experience, which will be a huge asset if I decide to start a business. Or, over the last 10 years, I've made great contacts with, which will be essential when I start networking for my next job. If you've just been laid off, instead of wallowing in self-pity, think about how great it is to finally have the time and maybe the money if you received a severance package, to think about what you really want to do with the rest of your life. Second, and this is also that's not the last point. Surround yourself with people that have an abundance mindset. You know those people who always seem positive and see the glass as half full instead of half empty? Find them and start spending time with them. Attitudes rub off, and if scarcity-minded individuals surround you, you will need to counteract that to make a career change. As Tony Robbins says, the quality of a person's life is most often a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group. Ask yourself if you look up to the people with whom you spend time. If not, you may need to search for other people living the life you aspire to. Something that I have really been blessed by, being surrounded by people that do have similar mindsets, that do have similar lives, that just, people that are willing to do something, not always laying around, not whatever, just seeking a bit more, not just existing, but indeed living a life. A scarcity mindset believes create win-win situations. A scarcity mindset believes that if one person wins, another loses. Try to create win-win conditions in your life to combat this manner of thinking. Look for ways for both parties to leave with a sense of accomplishment and a better feeling about the relationship. Consider practicing this in both your personal and professional life. This often means listening without judgment or censorship, fully understanding what a win-win means for both of you, and brainstorming solutions until you find one that satisfies both parties. Incorporate gratitude into your daily life. According to Oprah Winfrey, if you look at what I guess it's just kind of obvious, train your minds to recognize the possibilities. An abundance mindset allows you to see more in life, more options, more choices, and more resources. One fascinating Harvard study found that when we focus on one particular thing very intensely, other possibilities that are right in front of us can go completely unnoticed. The brain can only absorb so much, so if your belief is, I can't do it, or it is impossible, then any other thoughts contradicting that will get thrown out. Start training your minds to loosen its focus and create an expanded awareness. Ask yourself, if you had all the time and money in the world and you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? Questions like that will help to open your mind up to what is possible, and maybe even also to the next step you should be taken. Ultimately, just remember, what you believe is what you receive. Well, difficult, it's kind of a woo-woo motivational kind of thing. Anyway, I'm gonna end the episode there. Wish you the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.